All right, what is going on, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I know there's a lot of things going on YouTube, tons of live streams going on from 8 to 8:30. So I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, man. I got these two guys back with me again. Everybody seemed to enjoy them. What was it, about 2-3 weeks ago? So they was ready to come back up. So here we are once again tonight. Thank you guys for being here once again.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Out there, YouTube land.
We got another fun night, some great topics for everybody that I think you guys will enjoy. Last time we were here, we talked movie theaters. So this time around, we wanted to take it into the home, where it seems to be where everybody's staying at lately, because some of these movies just aren't doing good box office numbers. So, we got screens big enough to fill your entire living room now. So a lot of people would rather just sit home and enjoy it. So tonight we are talking home theater. And our first topic of the night, I know, Jason, you really wanted to talk about this. This was a hot topic for you, that you wanted to really talk about the rising cost of new releases, and these pre-orders is getting out of hand. So if you want to, you can take it away, man.
All right, guys. So I think I call Derek about this every week. And if I don't call him about it, I'll call Justin and complain to him. I'm not big on complaining, but I'm going to complain.
Oh, you complaining, bro?
I'm going to complain. So, prices for new releases. First of all, we understand that physical media is kind of being in a state of where it's almost like gotta catch them all, gotta catch them now, almost like Pokemons. And it's to the point where pre-orders, you're almost waiting for them to hit, and you're like, well, what is the price going to be that day versus the price when it does come out? Because some people just try to go ahead and grab and beat it to the punch before everyone else sucks it up. Hence steel books and sometimes collector sets. I think the prices for steel books, especially through Sony, way too high.
It's stupid.
It's stupid.
Beyond stupid, yes.
To give you an example, the film Sisu, Road to Revenge, is that what it's called?
Yep.
That's still like a $40+ steel book. And I understand the steel books are important, and I understand, to the physical media community, but you're making it almost like it's impossible to purchase, because even if you're a big fan of the film, does that outweigh the cost of paying XX amount of dollars for the film and try to beat everybody before it runs out, and then you got to go to eBay because it ran out that day, and you go back to Amazon and they say, okay, shipping is in 1 to 2 weeks, sometimes 1 to 2 months. That is ridiculous. Right. So if that's the case, just make everything limited editions then, and gouge the price on everything, because Blu-rays are getting higher, are high in price, just like the 4Ks now. I think I paid $25, almost $30 for Sisu, and the steelbook is plus $40. That's ridiculous. I don't think that's right. And yeah, there are no good movies out right now, so everyone is probably staying home. But I'm not a big fan of streaming, but it's almost to the point where, hell, you could have paid cheaper to watch Sisu on streaming if you wanted to purchase it from, I don't know, Apple TV or Prime, whomever, and see it in 4K with the possibility of Atmos, depending on your setup at home, and save money. And I don't like that. I'm a physical media guy.
I agree with you, man, because this started, golly.
We can blame Disney for this.
Yeah, so that's where I was going, yes. So I noticed it around the time of when Moana 2, Mufasa were coming out, and I noticed, okay, where's the standard edition 4K release? So there are standard edition 4K releases overseas, because you're always gonna look. I look overseas all the time. So movies like and they were going for like $42,
brand
new for a still. I'm like, what? And then it got crazier again, once Sony acquired Disney's home video distribution. When that Tombstone was announced, Willow really started it. I was like, $45 for
Willow started it. And I complained about that.
Bro. I didn't pay those high prices for like Tombstone. I think I paid $30. I was like, I'm not doing
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And when the price dropped to 30, I locked it in. Kingdom of Heaven. You know, people lost their mind over Kingdom of Heaven.
And they still are losing their minds.
They're
over
still
it.
losing their mind over it. I bought that from Walmart. So people always go to Amazon first. Come on now. We all know Wally World. You know, they have it too. So I bought that from Walmart for like, it's still expensive. It was $42 after tax. Sisu, I wanted to get Sisu, Road to Revenge. Can't do it, man. $42. I liked it. Not $42 liked it, but I liked it. So,
and you know me,
I feel you, man.
I'll buy it right then and there. I don't care how much. I shouldn't say that. I don't care how much it costs.
We know that Fight Club is dropping. We know that Fight Club is dropping. I don't even want to know because you know the demand for that Fight Club is crazy.
And I'm gonna say it's like I was talking to Jason. I think it was last week when I mentioned it to you. Yep. You know, we got Mimic coming out.
Yeah, I almost crashed my car when you told me that.
It is like $40.
I think that's a Kino release.
Yeah,
and Kino don't charge high prices like that. So why not?
No, so that's the thing. So a lot of times with these pre-orders, they'll start off high and then they'll gradually drop. It's like Arrow. I don't sweat the pre-order price for Arrow because I know by the time the movie drops, it's going to drop. In fact, I'm getting a refund of I think a few dollars for Westworld and Excalibur because I locked in Excalibur when the pre-order was like $50 and then it dropped to like $38. And same thing for Westworld. The boutiques do a great job of that, but these studios, especially Sony and Disney,
Did any of y'all buy Cobra pre-ordered before it hit the store? Before it actually hit the stores early?
Yeah, as soon as the pre-order went live,
it dropped.
Yeah.
Well, unlike me, I paid that price.
And I mean, as far as these prices go, if you look, it's crazy because it's to the point now where a lot of the mom and pop shops and the boutique labels are becoming cheaper than Amazon, Target, Walmart. It's getting ridiculous. Like, I forget which title it was. I was telling somebody that it was like $45 on Amazon. Groove had it for $29.99.
Yep. People sleep on Groove. People sleep on Groove. I have, in the past month, bought like 12 movies on Groove and spent maybe $150. And of course, you're going to love this, Derek. They all have the slip.
Yeah, Derek is the slip master. Hey, you ain't got a slip, you ain't got no purchase. Tell him, Derek.
Oh yeah. I gotta have my slips most of the time. I understand. There's a chance I ain't gonna get one by time. You know, if I wait weeks later to finally try to get it, it may not be gone. I know. I think it's Screen Factory or someone. They give you like they tell you there's like a 2-week window or something like that.
They will tell you, certain movies.
Yeah. So.
Universal, you'd be any title you get from them, you'd be really lucky to get a slip case because 9 times out of 10 after they've been out even just for a little while, you probably won't get a slip from them.
It's crazy, but here's another thing too. So speaking of Groove, so back I think at the end of 2019, early 2020, Warner Brothers and Universal, they consolidated their disc replicating capacity, and that's why you have studio distribution services today, which of course, you know, that's Groove itself. You're just buying directly from SDS through Groove. And I know that Shout Factory, because everybody thought Shout Factory was getting out of the physical media game and people were losing their mind and the sky was falling.
They still are.
All they did was just shift their, instead of buying directly from Shout, they just shifted that over to Groove. That's all it is, which I actually like because they've had some really good sales. Groove has a sale every week, like every week.
That's awesome. Congrats to them.
Yeah.
Because that makes it more manageable to purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even with them, they've started to try to change things. They haven't really risen their prices. But even like they went down on the amount that you get off when you first, that 20% has went down to $15. I think they used to do like 3 for $30. Now it's like up to like 3 for $33. So it's like small gradual increases, but not quite like we've seen.
It's not crazy.
Amazon. some of the other places.
But
Not
even
yet.
Amazon still have good sales too, though. He said Groove's on his ban list. What?
Yes. Until they put out the next steelbook that is exclusive from them. Yeah, I mean, if you start something, you need to be able to continue it too, depending on how you run your business. And you're right. I mean, and they are known for that. So why do they take a back seat? I guess. Well, here's the thing to remember: what's more important, the film itself, or what you are? Now, I know a lot of people gonna say this: the film itself, or how it comes. Like, you know, for example, if I buy this movie, am I gonna do I just want to just get it because it's a steelbook, or do I really want the film for what it is and never mind the cover, the steelbook, or anything else? I just want the film itself, the actual physical disc. Right. So that could probably hurt people, you know, I guess depending on how the business is ran, but can't rely on steelbooks. You can't rely on that. That's not something that should bring you to purchase the film for itself. That's being it's taking advantage of people when it comes to the
absolutely, and that's the thing, because you know there's enough people out there who will pay that price.
Yes,
regardless of what it comes
Come on, remember Hard Boiled dropped in December, and if you weren't there that first weekend, people were paying crazy prices for it. Again, your boy, I ain't paying for it.
Well, you know I did.
I know you did.
I paid $100 for it.
Yeah, man, those are Laserdisc prices back.
That's Laserdisc prices.
We ain't doing that. No, not in 2026.
No. And I've paid quite, and you've paid. All of us have paid quite.
We have.
Yeah, but that one, I knew from jump. Okay, this film's gonna blow up, and it did, because it was all over YouTube. People reviewing it. Act like some people had never actually seen it before.
They had never seen the movie before. Yeah,
didn't know anything about it. And when they finally got their hands on it, they said, "Oh my God, this is gold."
I've seen Hard Boiled for as cheap as like $45, $42 now. Yeah,
right.
Yep.
But thanks to studios like that know that these films are legendary and important to the film community, it almost could have been to a point where it would have been almost lost media, because Dragon Dynasty was the only company that actually put
that had it last. Yeah,
that had it last. And you're talking many years ago when that came out.
You know, we have the old, but I think you still have it, Jason. As long the old Fox Lorber edition.
I sure do.
Because you know your boy got I got the Criterion Laserdiscs.
Criterion Laserdiscs, but you see how far back you had to go back just to get the film.
Yeah,
and how far it's come to where you can actually get it now, and then people are just now realizing, oh, John Woo made these great films. That's why it's costing $100 or more to purchase, and that's why it keeps running out. And people can sell it. And then some studios are nice enough to even say, well, guess what? If Scream and Shout could put theirs out, Arrow's going to follow behind them and do the same thing, and add even better stuff on it. So now where do we go from there?
Well, it's a double-edged sword too. It is.
It's a double-edged sword.
But like you said, at least you're getting a little more on it. Because to go back to what you just said a few minutes ago with them taking advantage of us, you look at a release like what we're getting again, some Carlito's Way.
Oh,
all it is a new case. You're still getting the same disc as the Arrow release.
Yeah.
So are you willing to pay that $30+ for just a case?
That's the thing. You're right. Just because of the case.
Yeah.
And what are the studios doing right now? Are they like, whoever's in charge of I won't say marketing, whoever's in charge of the physical media releases, it's like, okay, so they get on the phone. Hey, Universal, can we go ahead and get that copy of Carlito's Way? Yeah, sure, we got it. And then they call back a year or two, few years later. Hey, yeah, we saw it sold pretty well, but can we get that back? And we'll just make it a steelbook this time. Thanks for all your help. What? What are you doing right now? That bothers me. It really does. The back and forth crap bothers me.
Yeah, I would love to sit with somebody and talk about, what's the process of choosing what's going to get released. Like, you got all these catalog titles sitting here, but you guys have decided to double back on something that's already been released before again, instead of giving us something new.
Is notorious for that, because how many times are you going to repackage John Carpenter's movies?
Yes.
And ain't Arrow working on a 4K for Halloween?
Yeah. Well, because that transfer is now out digitally, and I know that I think over in Australia, Imprint recently released it as well. I don't know if they used the Aeromaster for it, but Shout dropped their UHDs back in what, 2020, 21? And now, yeah, we find out that Arrow is releasing it as well. In fact, Friday, Arrow, they got new announcements. I think one of the ones was so the recent Sergio Leone Dollars trilogy, which was a overseas exclusive. Apparently now that's coming out here in the States. I imported those, so I already got them.
And it's going to sell out.
Bro.
Yeah.
You know those collector sets for like the limited edition packaging, we're talking hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now I guess people understand what is the essence of a new release. A new release is a new film that comes out for the first time on a format, or a new release for a film that's been out multiple times.
A new release for a catalog title.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you again,
more.
It's a double-edged sword because obviously the demand is there.
Yeah,
For us, old heads now, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, yes, it gives a chance for a newer generation to watch those films in the best presentation. There's an article I meant to share, but I think it was in the Los Angeles Times talking about how Gen Z is practically saving physical media, and now how physical media for movies is the new vinyl.
Yeah. So good question here. A gentleman just said that what is it? Top Gun 2 is coming out, 40th anniversary. Yeah.
It's just a repackage. It's literally just a repackage.
So for every anniversary, you're going to see the same film, different cover. Some people say I didn't get it the last time, so now I'm going to go ahead and purchase it because I missed it that time. Remember? All right, talk about releases. Remember when Scream came out? When it came out for the first time in 4K.
Yeah. That steelbook. Yeah.
That steelbook was insane.
I got it. I paid $25 for it.
And then how much did it go up on eBay that day?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking 70, 80.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, $100 at one period of time and not more. And then I seen it even higher, a couple hundreds during that time because that was a very limited edition cover. I get it, but I went and bought the slipcase one with the face cover on it. Very cool with that. When the Scream film came out with the new actors in it at the time, a couple years ago, I got the steelbook of that. Mm-hmm. That price was high on that one too. And then when they started releasing Scream steelbooks for 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Very expensive.
I got them all.
Very expensive. Very expensive. Very hard to find too. You still can't get some of those.
It sure was. Just re-released last week.
Yeah, you still can't get some of those. I don't know, man. It like we were saying, Disney kind of started this thing, but it goes back even further with like Paramount and all these folks, with the whole steelbooks. Lionsgate was really good about steelbooks because they
got that Lionsgate limited.
I was about to ask about them.
Why go to that?
How do y'all feel about the whole Lionsgate limited with their pricing plus the shipping cost?
I don't mind it so much with Lionsgate because they have put together some really beautiful packages that are full of supplements. It reminds me of the golden age of Laserdisc.
Yeah.
Those packages, beautiful packages, the artwork, the supplements. And when they have a sale, they have a sale. I pre-ordered the substitute. I was not going to pass that up. You already know. I already got it on lock. And it's a nice looking package. It's not the original artwork. That's cool, but it's got supplements on it. I'm good with that. I don't need it to have no new Atmos mix and all that. That's what I'm looking forward to. About the Den of Thieves, 2 film set. That was worth it as well.
Yeah.
Basic Instinct. Now that one I paid a little more for because they already have sold out of it, but somebody on eBay has sold it for only about $10 more. So I didn't mind paying the $50 for that because there were a lot of supplements in that set, and they even had supplements going all the way back to Laserdisc in that set.
Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing about that too is that at least one thing I would give Lionsgate, at least they care about their catalog titles.
So yeah,
they'll release the hell out of them over and over, but they always give you something kind of different, at the end. Or they at least try to throw one or a couple special features on there because who wants to keep buying the same thing over and over because of a cover?
They at least make it worth it.
They make you worth it, yeah, and they really put some TLC into their to the way they actually do the disc when it comes to the 4K picture and the sound and like the Descent can't get it no more or at all.
Well,
actually.
you can. It'll be back in stock.
Yeah,
It came back in stock.
Spring, yeah.
That was a tough one. Basic Instinct can't get it. I think you can still get It Follows. I just checked them recently. If anyone wants to purchase that. What's the other one? Leprechaun. I know, Derek, you're all about that. You're awesome for buying that.
And it's going to sell out. It's going to sell out.
It's going to sell out. And don't put and you know what? How about this? They're going to see how the first one does, right? They're going to be like, let's go ahead and release all of them 4K, especially Leprechaun Back in the Hood.
I knew you were going to say that.
And I have the Blu-ray set downstairs. And
I'll say that Lionsgate, yes, for a few years now, they've been giving us some really good artwork. Mm-hmm. But once they came with that American Psycho and they changed the game with that whole face-off cover, with it coming off and everything, I think they wore that out a little too fast. Like every cover after that had to have some type of reveal or something going on to it. It was like, oh man,
Reservoir Dogs same way. Reservoir Dogs same way with the ear.
Yeah,
same thing. Universal Soldier covers like that.
Cabin in the Woods, I believe it's like that.
Yep. Jacob's Ladder, The Crow 4K, which let me tell you about that. That came in different covers. You got an Amazon one and you got the Lionsgate one. And I got the Lionsgate one, and it's a white, like a steelbook. It's pretty nice. You pull it off and it shows the character. When Paramount, on a side note, when Paramount released, oh my God, remember when the Crow steelbooks hit? Couldn't get them.
Yeah.
Couldn't get them. Paramount has had to re-release some of their steelbooks just to supply the demand. And that was one of them, The Crow. Oh God, what was that other steelbook that they had? Okay, Scream. Hell, when Sony released
they re-release their steelbooks quite often, actually.
And they go back to the original artwork sometimes from the posters, which is really cool. When what's the movie Last Action Hero has sold out, they had to re-release it.
They re-released it. Yep.
Yeah. Same thing with Cliffhanger. Yeah, no complaints. But the prices way too high.
So what would you guys say for one single release, something that hasn't come out yet? What's one movie that if it got announced, you'd be willing to pay a certain high amount for it?
Ooh, wow.
What's that title, and what would be your maximum cap on that title?
You go first, Justin.
Oh man, I know you're gonna hit me up. So
you're the big spender when it comes to that.
What? You're the big spender, bro.
No.
I'm always hunting for a discount. I have spent some money on some Laserdisc, of course.
Of course.
And I guess.
Can we add a military discount in there sometimes, people? Please.
Barnes and Noble 10% off.
People know Barnes and Noble quite a bit. But the thing is, when Barnes and Noble have a deal and they have a sale going on, I have cleaned up a lot during the Criterion, Arrow, and Kino sales. And I think the boutiques really kill it when you buy directly from them when they have a great sale. But the most I'm willing to spend on a movie that has not come out yet, if Criterion was to drop Dead Presidents on 4K UHD and it was $60, hey, shut up and take my money.
Yeah. I would probably get Dead Presidents, but what I would also like to see, let's go back about almost maybe 5, maybe even close to 10 years ago when they announced this. When did they announce those IMAX enhanced titles from
yeah, those titles started coming out in 2019.
Yeah, but what about the ones that, unless I'm having the Mandela effect in here, didn't Warner Brothers say they were going to make some?
I think they said they were, yeah.
It was going to be like, I think Dune, Blade Runner
2049, of course, yeah.
Probably Ready Player One, and a couple other titles. What happened? Now that I would pay a really good high dollar price for, even just to get one of them, just to take advantage of that technology. And what I mean by the IMAX, I want the full IMAX ratio with some DTS:X sound, and I want to experience it as if I were to see it in IMAX at the cinema, and that would be great. I would pay premium price for those.
I would actually, I would, because I bought that Equalizer set from Sony with all three films,
Yep.
and it was actually worth it, especially to have that second film in IMAX enhanced.
You know, where they dropped the ball at was the first one. What happened to the? I mean,
I know.
Come on, yo, if any of them.
I had to buy. I ended up buying Equalizer, the first one on Sony Pictures Core, just for the IMAX audio because that was one of the best IMAX presentations I've ever sat through.
If they released a really good 4K American copy of Dawn of the Dead through Kino or Scream or Shout, I would pay premium price for that. Because that 4-disc DVD set that you can't get anymore that came out over 20 years ago that you can buy on eBay right now, I still own it. I paid like $40 for that as a DVD 20 years ago. I would love to see that.
You talk about boutiques. That was back in the day. That was back when Anchor Bay was one of the best boutique labels.
Yep.
Yeah, they were great, and they love horror films, and people were snatching up those movies. You had to go in Best Buy day one.
Yes.
Not no day two, day one, because it would sell out. And if you didn't get it, you didn't get it. There wasn't no eBay to go to like that back then. I'm going to go on eBay and go get my title. No, you're not. You have to wait 20 years to get it. Sorry, bro. Yeah, especially some of those early titles like Army of Darkness and Army of Darkness, Evil Dead with the face cover book. Oh my God, I still got that. Man, those things are great. But yeah, what would you pay for, Derek? What would you pay high dollar for?
Okay, well, I guess I'd probably go. I'm an action guy, so it would have to be some action. So probably something like The Rock or Armageddon. They give me
I was thinking
very nice steel book inside out. Some type of poster or booklet on the inside. Yeah, I'm going about maybe. I'll pre-order it Amazon if it's like 45, 50.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Know what? Speaking of those titles, I bet you so because Con Air already has a 4K transfer done.
Yes.
I have a digital copy of it.
I
bet you if any of those 90s Bruckheimer films like Enemy of the State, Con Air, Crimson Tide, The Rock, all of those would easily, I bet you they would be Steelbook exclusives, and I bet you they'd be 45 to 50 a pop. You're damn right I'd buy it.
Imagine if they put those in a box set, Steelbooks.
Oh my God.
People would lose their minds. And that's probably $100 or plus more set just for those films. I guarantee you. They don't even care about the special features. They just want them. They just want the movie.
They just want the movie.
Yeah.
All right. So let's segue into the next topic of the night. So you guys are really big with, audio, home theater. A lot of times when we're talking, I hear you guys telling me, what audio track may not have come on this disc that was the original track, what new track is added to it, which track is give you the better experience. So real quick, let's get into home theater and audio and video. Which one to you makes for the better and more immersive experience? Is it that audio or is it the picture quality?
The audio all day long.
Audio. And why do you think that, Justin?
I think it definitely comes from working at the movies. We talk about audio so much and everything. We look at Widescreen Review magazine like it's a Playboy. Serious. Because anytime, as soon as a review for a movie come out, I even skip over the video just to go straight to the audio. What did the audio get? I love audio. IMAX. I love IMAX. Favorite exhibition format. But outside of the premiums, though, I was always a big Dolby Digital guy. I love DTS, and I know DTS is objectively better, but Dolby Digital is just Dolby Audio, period, because to me, that's just the pioneer for motion picture audio. I can't talk enough about audio, though. And, my favorite thing about the boutique labels and the releases is the fact that they will go and they'll release a remix version of a track, but they will also include the original audio, especially for those movies from the 90s.
You're purist.
Yeah, I am a purist. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Which is why I love Laserdisc, because it's the closest to the original theatrical release of when those movies came out. So The audio all the way.
For me, it's audio too, because let's go back even further in time. When movies and motion pictures and everything first started, the first thing that people obviously thought of was just images. There was just image. There was no sound yet. You had to kind of, movies that were played as like silent films or movies of that nature. You would only see the action taking place, and they would play music in the background, and there's no sound. So you're just really focusing on the images, and then later on, sound started being implemented into film because that's part of life. You hear sound all the way around you. You hear sound above you, below you, however it's set up, and in life. And when it comes to audio, you look at stuff going back as far as when the home market, when audio started coming into the homes. Even more so in the mid to late 90s, people didn't know what that was yet. They didn't know that you needed 5 speakers. They didn't know that you needed a subwoofer. There's a dedicated channel, just a bass. People didn't know what the disc, a DVD at that time was recorded in. So with all, and what cables you needed as far as your processing, like your optical cables, your coaxial digital cables. Sometimes when you had a Laserdisc, depending on when you needed an RF demodulator to go from the Laserdisc to the receiver, just to extract the actual digital audio. If not, it would play it back in PCM stereo, which is still really good. It's probably not the best. And that could be the original way to listen and hear the actual film at that time. Fast forward many years later, that same film you're talking about has now been remixed in Dolby Digital, DTS, Dolby Digital EX, DTS ES, 6.1, 7.1, Atmos, DTS:X. So it's like 8 to 10 different formats for one film, just to stay, I don't want to say relevant, to stay current to the terms and the new technology that's out now. But when it came to audio, the experience for audio it can be very visceral. So, and even in some cases, it could make you, feel an emotion or feel something that you experienced in your life, something you heard. I'll give you an example, and this isn't necessarily home theater. This is more of going from movie theater to home theater. I remember seeing Saving Private Ryan in theaters when it came out back in 1998, and opening day, I saw it in a THX DTS theater, and it was a full crowd, full people. The volume in there was incredibly loud. This is just a 5.1 film, and if anyone's heard that film on any format or any audio video, playback home theater, the movie sounds amazing. So hearing that, you're like, oh my God, this is back in 98. I'm going to go home and try to replicate that, depending on how it would come out in that format back then. DVDs were pioneering to where they were adding 2 audio tracks into the disc. So it allowed you to get close to that theatrical experience, regardless if you had a setup or not. But hearing Private Ryan in the theaters and transferring it back to home, yeah, man, it was like, that's the same experience I got out of the theater and at home. And that was back in 1999. So I think the audio is very important because the audio also tells the story of the film. You hear the sound of life all the way around you, helicopters, a car screeching by, a person talking out of each speaker as if you're looking at them coming out of each, because you only got 2 ears. So you're hearing sound all around you in different directions. And thank God for audio continuing on to where it's adding more channels to try to replicate real life and where we're at, and also bring the artist experience to life to where you get close to that theatrical experience. Because 20, 30 plus years ago, you couldn't do half the stuff we're doing now with surround sound in your house. I mean, some people can't put that in their home. Some people can't put that in their apartment. Some people can't put that anywhere because it's either too loud, they turn it up too loud, they don't know how to set it up properly. Nothing anymore is plug and play. So it's a lot of hands-on now and doing stuff for you. And then calibration. You could not calibrate a receiver 30 plus years ago. You could, but you had to do it with like an SPL meter, or you had to kind of guess your measurements. Am I sitting 15 feet back?
Right.
Is my speaker over here?
You had to work for it back in the day.
You had to work for it. And they didn't give you any kind of software like you have now to do any of this stuff we have. So audio has definitely changed. It's gotten better. I know we're saying audio, but when it comes to video, this is another thing that kind of made me change my way of audio. Imagine this, and Justin can tell you this. One of my many places I've lived at, I remember one time my first flat screen TV I bought was a Samsung, was a 40-inch. This is back in 2005. and I had all my surround sound set up, and I was watching King Kong.
I remember that. Yeah, that Sony Wega.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it. Well, no, that was the 50-inch I bought, but before I bought it, I got a 40-inch.
That's right.
Same week. You know, I returned it the next day because
Yeah.
the image didn't match the sound. King Kong's big, and he looked pretty small on the 40-inch, and the sound was loud. To me, it took me out of the experience. Like, this little TV and this big sound, it don't make sense to me. I need a bigger TV. Went up to 50 inches, played the exact same scene back with King Kong. It actually felt like I'm in the experience with it because the image matched the sound. Bigger screen, bigger sound, better experience. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. And it's all kind of new to me. I'm still learning a lot from talking to you guys. I'm on Reddit threads a lot at 4K Blu-ray and home theater subreddits, trying to learn a lot more. There's two terms that I hear a lot, and maybe Justin can explain a little bit more. But lossy versus lossless. Can you explain that?
Right. So yeah, those are like codecs used. Yeah, PCM, post code modulation. That's just pure uncompressed audio. And then you have lossy audio. It's compression. So on a DVD, the audio is lossy audio. You know, you have to, in order, especially on a DVD, you have the movie, you have the audio, you have the special features. So you only have so much real estate on that disc to work with. So to try to get that, back then, that the best home theater experience, the studios would normally have, of course, either a Dolby Digital track, which I think the full bit rate on a DVD
448.
is 448.
Yep.
A lot of times they were encoded at 384.
Yep, that was the norm. 384.
You're right, that was the norm. And then DTS audio, so full bitrate DTS on a DVD, especially those early titles like The River Wild, Apollo 13,
Universal titles.
Those early Universal titles, they were full bitrate like the Laserdisc. And I think that was 1509 kilobits per second. It was like the full bit rate.
Yep.
But once DTS started making their way to a lot more titles, especially if you had Dolby Digital and DTS audio tracks to choose from, I think the DTS was about 754 kilobits per second. Yep. And the sampling rate, I think, is 48 kilohertz. So that's the rate at which that digital signal is sampled. So in order to get like that audio on the disc, you have to take sound out of it. So you're not getting you're getting a great home audio experience, but that's the difference between lossy and lossless. Lossless is still compressed audio. It's just lossless audio. So that's, DTS, master audio, Dolby True HD. A lot of the early Blu-ray titles that came out, especially from Lionsgate and Sony, they didn't even have encodes from Dolby or DTS. They were just uncompressed PCM, just uncompressed 5.1 or uncompressed 7.1.
Yep. When it comes to lossless is they're trying to get it close to the studio master. They're trying to get it close to the way you may have heard it or possibly seen it at a theater.
Right.
A higher bit rate, much higher than what he just named, and that gives you a better a difference in I don't want to say tonality, but a difference in levels too. Sometimes depending. So with it being a higher bit rate, there's no compression. That means your dynamics are higher, better. Your bass could get better or stronger. Your surrounds might be a little loud. There's no compression, so it's not gonna take out the dynamics out of the actual sound, and you need that because it needs to go from quiet to loud to quiet, or and then in some cases too, from what like DTS in particular, DTS had a higher bit rate, so it was. From what I used to read online, and Justin could tell you some of the magazines we used to look at, they always used to say that DTS was better because it had it picked up better low ambient sounds, better bass, and Dolby Dolby was compressed, but it still performed. But the D-Test was better because there was no compression, or it was lower compression. And then, like he said, that number, which was what, 754 or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
That was half of what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be much higher,
Right.
like 15. So add another 754 kilobits.
Mhm.
That's your audio.
So
they
like,
cut the audio in half when you were
I
listening
have
to it
a
in the
lot
DTS
of
track.
those titles. So like Apollo 13, one of my favorite films. I
Yeah.
own that title on Laserdisc DTS, which is full bit rate, and that was one of the earlier DVD titles that also just had nothing but a DTS track on it.
Yep. Single track.
And it was full bit rate. The Laserdisc outperformed that DVD every time, and no, DVD sounds great, but that Laserdisc, even with the same same kilobits per second, just the Laserdisc performed it better because the thing with the Laserdisc actually is full digital, and I think it had a higher sampling rate. I think it was 44 kilohertz as opposed to 48.
48. And another thing too, very important. So we're mentioning about the whole audio experience and how they had to add all this, and they were trying to cram all that into one disc. By doing all that, did you know that it also affected the picture quality of the DVD, and sometimes even maybe some of the newer films? I don't know, but because they run off a higher storage capacity. But we started seeing, as years went further down the road when it came to disc and everything, DVDs started, the picture wasn't as great because the audio tracks was sucking up the video bit rate, so they couldn't. You either had to get one or the other. Couldn't get both. Sometimes you were lucky though, depending on what kind of TLC they put into the disc. But 9 times out of 10, the audio was the better experience than the video because they had to put some kind of depending on it was like MPEG or VC1, depending on the quality of the disc, you could lose picture quality but gain audio.
And it depended too, of course, whatever equipment you're using for playback and how you have it hooked up. If you had it hooked up via coaxial or optical,
right?
If you had a receiver that had 6-channel input for
every
single, that was even better because
it was way louder. It was like 10, each channel was almost like 10 decibels louder because there was no compression and it was straight analog audio and it punished. Yeah.
So how many speaking of channels, I know Jason, you got multiple areas that you view your movies in and multiple dedicated speaker systems throughout your house. How many channels are you guys running in your setups?
So my movie room right now, I'm doing 7.1.2, and that's 7 bed layer speakers. That's your center, left, right, front, left, right, surround, and back surround, and then up top, the .2 or .2 would be my 2 Atmos in ceilings, and then my subwoofer to the right, which you always want to put that in the corner if you can, because it increases your frequencies, increases your bass, and it's direct firing, not down firing. My living room downstairs, I'm running a 5.2, but it's a very tricky situation here. No, 5.2.2. So I got 2 subs, 5 bed layer speakers, and then 2 Atmos behind me. But I'm about to change that now. I'm about to go to 5.2.4. So I'm gonna put 2 rears behind me, and I'm gonna add 2 more Atmos speakers in the front, and reconfigure the configuration on that, and try to get my backwards and forward sound when it comes to my Atmos. And then my bedroom, I'm running a traditional 5.1 because I could add back speakers into that. I could even put in ceilings in that, but sometimes I do it like this. When you have too much going on in all these rooms, you may not want to go back to that room no more.
Right.
Spend more time in there, or versus being in here, because most people probably spend more time in their bedroom or their living room. So depending on how you want to do your setup in there too, that's a very good question. So I got smaller speakers in my my bedroom with a sub, and I'm running a receiver in there with a 4K Blu-ray player and a 75-inch TV and a Apple TV, but I have just a standard 5.1 set in there because I like that sound. I will always like 5.1. It works every single time. And when it comes to that, I'm very pleased with every setup I have. But with home audio and stuff like that, even video, I gotta slow down because it's like I'm changing stuff out so much.
Bruh, don't even get me
I'm never
started.
happy.
Every time you tell me, Justin,
Yeah.
I'm about to get a new this, and I'm like,
Yep.
Jay.
Yeah,
Come on,
I got 2 new speakers coming this week, and I'm gonna try that configuration out because here's another good thing too, Derek. And now that you mentioned this, people, this is going to tie into your next question, which I'm not going to jump ahead of nothing. I'll save that for later. But you also got to look at your setup and see what you actually can and can't do. But I'll save that for the next one. So yeah, that's the different setups I'm running in my room. But I think Justin's got some setups too.
I have 2 in the living room. So I have a Onkyo. It's a 9.2 receiver. So when we say 0.2, that's your low frequency or subwoofer channels. But of course, I'm not just running it straight like that because I can change, different configurations depending on what I'm watching. So when I watch a film in Dolby Atmos, the configuration that I change the receiver to is 5 2 4. So 5 full range, left, center, right, left surround, right surround, 2 subwoofers, and the height channels are 4. So 2 in the front raised and 2 in the back raised. And in the bedroom, I have older Onkyo from 2017. That's a 7.2 receiver, but it does Atmos. So I actually do have Atmos speakers in the bedroom as well. So I run that as a 512. I only have 1 subwoofer in the bedroom. It's a down-firing sub. It's loud. But that's clips for you though.
Yeah.
So yeah, same thing in the bedroom. That's where I have my Laserdisc player hooked up. I have a Free Region Blu-ray player in there hooked up, and a couple of older gaming consoles. And 5.1, it gets the job done just fine. It does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
that's currently what I run right now is 5.1. My room here, as you can see, you already see one of the speakers in the background on the wall. It's a very small room. My couch is pushed all the way to the back of the back wall. So
right.
I don't feel, unless somebody comes in and shows me exactly what more I can do with it, I'm still pretty new to it. So I don't really know how I could set this room up to get more out of it, or even if it's worth it with the space that's in here.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I should do next. I want to go 5.2, but I don't know if I should just, instead of that, just put that money towards get a new receiver and see if I can do 7.1.
Yep.
So I don't, that's where I'm at a loss with. So I'm still trying to figure it out because I don't feel like really going into the walls and putting speakers in the wall. I'm pretty sure that's what I would have to do with the amount of space that I have in here.
Yep.
So that's where I'm just kind of at a crossroads with it right now. But I'm totally fine. Like, I love the 5.1 experience. It's a lot better than coming from my last, like, I had a setup before, but it wasn't 5.1. It was a 3.1. And that was a long time ago. And then once I got rid of that, that's when soundbar started, coming in. And I was like, man, I don't feel like going back through all that wiring and all that, running cables. And I was just like, no, soundbar is what it's going to be. So I ran with that and I enjoyed it for a while.
People knock
soundbars.
Soundbars have come a long ways.
Yeah.
I have heard some amazing soundbars like that can give my system a run for its money. So I don't knock soundbars anymore, and especially for people who live in an apartment and are trying to maximize the amount of space that they have, but they still want to watch movies as if they're in a theater. Ain't nothing wrong with a good soundbar.
Now, when it comes to your setup and how you want to do it, like you said, it depends on your room, your conditions. And I can definitely tell you all kinds of cool stuff that you can do because there's new ways to do this surround sound now. It may maximize your space and still in some cases even add on, depending on what you want to do. And then some people, it's called what they call the wife factor. They're like, well, my wife don't want me to have all that in here. And, I can't take off this one picture to the left because if I put my speaker there, then she won't want me to do it to the right or something. So it just depends on that too. So it's a lot of what ifs and what can I do, but there's always something you can do. Trust me, there's always something you can do.
Yeah. Okay. So last part of this conversation, I want to ask you guys because I hear a lot, it's a lot of balance between getting a yes and no to the answer to this question. There's a lot of people that get disappointed when they see a new release does not come with Dolby Atmos. But then there's the same amount of people that are just like, that's fine with me. I don't have to have it. To them, it's more of like it's not an audio track that really changes much for them.
Right.
It's just something special. It's not needed, so to say. What do you guys think? Like, how do you feel when you see the track listing for a new release?
So here's the thing about I like Dolby Atmos. You know,
I get mad. I get pissed off. You go first.
I know Jason.
I get mad.
The thing about Atmos is, number one, especially keep in mind home video. The core for Dolby Atmos is Dolby True HD 7.1. There are times when I watch a film. So, Demolition Man, older movie. Demolition Man was released theatrically in Dolby SR spectral recording.
Yep.
So that's really matrixed audio, and I think some venues played it in Dolby Digital. Mm-hmm. And I remember when Dolby Digital came out back in the day. The biggest difference between the two was that the matrixed audio, it just didn't have that pinpoint
stereo
separation. Yep. And there's nothing wrong with PCM audio at all. I listen to it all the time on Laserdisc. So when Arrow came out with Demolition Man and it had Dolby Atmos track, naturally I was curious, and that's the track I started listening to the film with. There was nary any height activity in that movie. So I folded the audio down to a 7.1 configuration, and it just sounded better. Now, of course, that's an older catalog title. For newer films, there's really no excuse because Dolby Atmos is sort of like Dolby Digital. It's sort of a standard now. There are not too many films, and I will sit through the credits of a movie just to see what the audio was. And most of the time, it's Dolby Atmos now, unless you're watching Christopher Nolan, who don't use Atmos on his movie. I don't know why. You have to ask him that. Newer films like Mission Impossible, I remember when because Dolby Atmos started coming in the home video about 2014.
Yeah.
So I remember when Mission Impossible not Ghost Protocol, but Dead Reckoning came out. It had a Dolby Atmos track on it. I had one of the early Atmos receivers back then. Didn't really hear much overhead activity. Folded it down to 7.1, even better audio experience. So I guess for me, it just really depends on the movie. There's really no excuse, especially for a standard Blu-ray. I know studios, especially Sony and Disney, they'll put the Atmos audio on the 4K, but then the standard Blu-ray is the 7.1 master audio track. Nothing wrong with 7.1 audio or 5.1 audio. There's just really no excuse to not include the Atmos audio because we know that you can put Atmos audio on a standard Blu-ray. No excuse for it at this point, though. For me, it just really depends on the movie.
I'm gonna tell you something funny to add to that too. This is me calling out Sony. So what if the film don't do well? You got to take off the audio. You got to make somebody go buy the 4K, and in some cases you may not even get the actual correct. You might not even get the film in 4K at all. So and I mention that because there's a couple releases that have come out where it didn't get a 4K. It just went straight to Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray got downgraded even worse. They didn't even add a good audio track to it. They didn't even do nothing for it as far as the movie itself because the film didn't perform well. So they're like, well, we don't need to go out of our way to add an Atmos and a DTS, real good 7.1 mix. We're making a 5.1 mix. Make the video quality the best if it is any good if possible, and then we'll add no special features to it and be done with it. That's horrible. Right. So that and I don't even want to even get into that because that's a whole other subject. But I don't like it when certain films. I know there's certain movies that should have had the Atmos on the track on there. They could have took advantage of it just from hearing the 5.1. I'm listening to films like, man, I could have had a helicopter scene come past me,
Right.
firing a jet, whatever. And there's nothing that you're knocking the original audio mix, because that is the original audio mix, and it performed and did well for what it was at that time. But if you want to stay, I guess, moving in, to being relevant and catching up to what's out now, then yeah, I'm expecting to have a nice audio track that's current, up to date, today's standards, because I'm buying that disc of that film in 4K, because 4K is supposed to give me the best quality, rather audio and video in some cases too. So, like, for example, if I bought, I mean, it wouldn't make sense to do this, but let's just say hypothetically, let's say the movie that came out this week, Excalibur 4K, 4K Dolby Vision. Where's my Dolby Atmos?
Could care less.
Could care less, right? But some people really want that, because
You're right.
I paid for that. I have the setup. I don't want to hear it in 5.1. I don't want to hear it in 7. I want to hear it in Atmos. So y'all better figure this out. And
well, that's like Hard Boiled. So the shot release contains only the yep. So that's why I ordered the Arrow release, because Arrow has a Atmos track. I don't know why Shout didn't include it. Shout only included the original Cantonese and English mono tracks, which the film had a mono release. That's how the movie was released.
Yeah.
But the fact that Arrow has a Atmos track, I was like, well, you got me right there with that, because now I'm curious. A movie where bullets are just constantly flying, you would think you would have a remixed at least 5.1.
Yeah, because there's constant shooting in that film. Constant get blown away. And then look at your boys Warner Brothers. Let me tell you about these guys. These guys are amazing. they don't care. If you're getting an Atmos track from them, you're getting a remix audio. You're getting new sound effects. You're getting stuff added in there that wasn't even part of the experience. And that goes back to you're either going to make the consumers really, really, really upset, because you got those purists, you got those people that don't want to change in their ways, and they don't want to hear all that sound. They don't like the new audio, the new remix, and then you got the ones like me. Yo, throw it in there, make it happen. Put everything in there. I want to, if I'm paying it, damn it, throw everything in there, like at one time. So like the Batman releases in 4K,
right?
All of them got new audio mixes.
Yeah.
All of them got new sound effects. I've heard this from them a million times. I know when there's something new. The Mad Max films, Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome, all new audio mixes. Yep. And most currently or recently, Lethal Weapon. That has all new sound effects. They don't sound like the original audio.
Right.
I kind of got upset with that. I like the original audio. I don't like the new
audio. Here's the thing with Lethal Weapon. So because that was a controversial audio mix, because it did not well, number one, I love the fact that Warner Brothers did include the original Dolby Stereo track via Master Audio.
Right. The best that they could.
Right. And to the best of their ability, and I had that film on Laserdisc as well. And I tend to gravitate to that more because it's the PCM stereo mix. I don't mind the Atmos mix for Lethal Weapon. It's just when I watch the movie, I tend to put it on the original stereo track. Dirty Harry is another one. Because when I saw they put Atmos on Dirty Harry, I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Yep.
That mix was hot. I don't care what nobody say. The Atmos mix for Dirty Harry was really good, because what they did was they just simply enhanced it. It wasn't overkill. Really good directionality. And in fact, Dirty Harry had a AC3. It had a Dolby Digital track on Laserdisc, and I'm sure people probably felt the same way about that when that was released.
And that had new sound effects on it too.
Because the thing is, when they do these remixes, they add new sound effects. I know and Richard Donner re-released Superman in 2001.
Oh, yeah.
People did not like the newly remixed 5.1 for that. So when the Blu-rays came out, or the 4K specifically, people were very happy that it included a 5.1 track, which was a representation of the 70mm 6-track release. Even though it was lossy audio, it was still included on there. And it included the original stereo track. The Atmos for Superman sounds fine, but certain films just sound better as they were.
Yeah, and funny story, even though I say I'm fine with 5.1, every time I go to Jason's house, of course, he's gonna throw on something for me to listen to, right? So a couple months ago, no diss to Jason, no diss to but
No diss.
I run a 5.1 system in my main home theater, right? But this guy, he's got all these channels that he just told you guys about. So he throws on Gravity, Dolby Atmos, that Blu-ray disc. So I'm sitting here and I'm just listening to stuff just coming from all chatter behind me, man moving in. You can hear him coming from your left, just stuff happening everywhere, right? So we watch it. And he's like, you know what? Just take it with you. Take it home with you. I'm about to order another one right here, right now. I get home, put it in. I'm disappointed. Like, man, this don't sound nothing like when I was just at his house. It still sounded good.
Oh yeah,
not that good. I was like, man, I got to do better. I just got to.
So guess what happened on that? That shows what the extra a little bit that you could be missing to tell the story.
Yeah,
and that sucks because it's like, well, can y'all not replicate that in some other way? Because I got 2 less channels or a couple other speakers I might be missing that I miss out on just a little bit of extra information. It's hit or miss on that, and that's a good example you brought up on that too, because that goes back to adding more channels to a movie that may or may not even be mixed in that audio format. It could give you a different experience when you watch it. So there you go.
So final question for this topic. What you guys, I hear this always happens with everything. There's a brand that people just don't like. They be like, oh, nah, we beyond that brand or whatever. I hear a lot of specific brand speakers that kind of are the best, or you should start off with, and what type of receiver. So what brand would you say you prefer as far as speaker and receiver?
You go first, Jay.
Speakers. So the bedroom, I have Klipsch Quintet 5s, or I'm sorry, Quintet 4s, back from 2012. Amazing. I have not switched those speakers out. Nothing wrong with them. So I'm definitely a Klipsch guy for sure. I've also had Polk before, Polk Audio, amazing speakers as well. Currently in the living room, there's nothing but Onkyo. The receiver is Onkyo, the speakers are Onkyo, the subwoofers are Onkyo. And they sound great too, but I know that there are, other speakers that sound better than that though. But I think for like just great home consumer at a good price, I would go Klipsch for sure.
Yeah, Klipsch won't fail you, but when it comes to Klipsch right now, and I've been watching some videos and listening to how they've changed everything, because Klipsch is known for horns,
right?
And with that, they got 2 different. How can I say this? They got 2 different, I guess, setups. They got Reference and they got Reference Premier. Reference is what you can purchase in a store like at Best Buy, just whatever they have there. But you can also get references on Klipsch website, Amazon, and a gazillion other websites. Reference is more just to get you there. It's like entry level, and they do got some pretty high top end models for that. When you get to Reference Premier, it changes everything. Their tweeters sometimes a little bit more expanded out. You have to put a lot more power into them because the sensitivity levels on those, they run about 92, 96 decibels. So what that means is you don't have to buy the biggest, best receiver. You can buy a stereo receiver, a basic receiver, just anything. The sound gets to the speaker quicker. So you can turn it up and still get premium quality, premium audio without having to overstrain the speaker or hit the point of distortion. So with the Premiers, it's a different tonality. If you go with Reference, it's a really bright forward sound, especially from music playback and in some movies too. But when you go to Reference Premier, it's a little bit more, from what I've been hearing on the demos and some of the videos I've watched, it's a little bit more neutral and less fatiguing. And it plays back. You can play it back loud. It won't strain the speaker or your amps. I've got Klipsch in my bedroom, Klipsch downstairs, Klipsch in my living room, Klipsch in my movie room, and I got some 35-year-old Klipsch speakers in my bar. 2-channel run off a Sony receiver. They sound great. They're 35 years old. They're perfect. I I've experimented with other brands. I've had growing up. We had my parents have JBL in their house in Klipsch. I've heard Polk Audio. I've heard Sony. I've heard other brands. I stick to Klipsch because I know they're not going to disappoint me, and it will continue to always perform no matter how many years you keep them. I've never had one blown. I've never had one go out on me. Onkyo are my two receivers in my movie room, my bedroom, and then downstairs I have a Denon. When it comes to brands and receivers, I've had Denon, Harman Kardon, Yamaha, Sony, Pioneer Elite, Onkyo RZ. The only ones I've never had was Marantz. Marantz and a couple other higher-end brands like Yamaha Advantage and a couple other brands. And where you start running into those, you can do a 5. Now the receivers are doing more than 5 channels, 7.1 at the lowest. Because you can still do 5 and 2 and 3, however your setup is. You can go up to 9, you can go up to 13, you can go up to 11. You can add external amplifiers to these receivers to even get more sound. And I strongly recommend external amplifiers if you have a room with big tower speakers and you're sitting back really far and you cannot hear the performance, because when it comes to receivers, the receiver is doing 2 jobs, video and audio. So when you start adding all that video just takes over. And it can minimize that audio. Once you start adding more channels, you start losing wattages. You got to crank up everything. Video is always going to be before audio. So when you start adding more speakers, because you see receivers that say like 120 watts times 7 or 9 to 10. It's not true. That's in 2-channel playback. Your front, left, and right. If you're hooking up no other speakers. And when you start adding more speakers, you start minusing the amount of amplification. Well, I don't say amplification, but the wattage power on the receiver. So if you buy an external amplifier, you can take away all the audio or some of the audio from the receiver and concentrate it onto the amplifier, which will give you actual constant performance and constant sound. So, for example, you get a 5-channel or a 3-channel or however many channel watt amp, and this says 100 watts or 200 watts or 300 watts, it's going to play that back continuously every time. And it actually increases the volume in your speakers, and it also gives you better quality out of the speaker you probably never heard before. I kept getting complaints from my dad about my living room down there. He kept saying, I cannot hear your front speakers. What is going on with your front speakers? And I'm listening to them too, and I'm like, yeah, I'm having to kind of turn it up to really hear it. I know my audio, but when I added an external amplifier to it and added just the front 3 channels, big improvement. And by the way, when you do speakers, if you can, stick to the same, not necessarily the same brand, but the same make and model if you can, because there are different ones, because that tweeter is what really going to represent the evenness of your sound. Keep your front speakers the same. Your rears, because they don't get that much activity. Rears is for ambient, surround effects, background sound. Your front channels, especially your center channel, is going to play 100% every time. So your front speakers need to be the same every time. If you got 3 clips, make sure it's the same one or close to that same model. That way, that tweeter matches it. So you have what they call what's it called, Justin? Tone match or
tonal match or timbre?
Timbre, yeah. You got to keep it the same, just in the front, because that's going to give your front stage a nice even sound. So that one speaker is playing louder than the other.
Okay. All right. So from there, we'll move on to our last topic of the night, and that is home theater for beginners. Hopefully, we've talked about this enough to inspire somebody to go ahead and pull the trigger on their home theater setup and change things up, add more channels, or, just come into the home theater realm. What is 3 to 5 tips you would give to somebody that's just starting out?
One of the best investments you can make, having a home theater setup will just breathe new life into your physical media. I'm telling you right now. If you're looking for, great audio, you don't have to break the bank on it. You really don't. There's home theater in the box sets. That was my first route back in 2002, back when Kenwood made receivers. And they made some really good receivers.
Bang.
They made some banging receivers.
Yeah.
I don't really see too many of those. They still have them. I just don't see them in store like I used to. But I think Costco might have them, or
It's all sound bars now.
really? Golly.
When it comes to
Um,
that style, yeah.
Gotcha. Huh. My best advice definitely is I think start with the receiver first. Know what you're looking for. Know how many channels you want to have. Um, again, whether you want to go the full Atmos or 7.1 or 5.1. Um, Something that's user friendly. I like Onkyo. People say Onkyo is not user friendly. I think it's user friendly.
Very.
Sony's really not user friendly, and I've had Sony's.
Oh
They're
yeah.
nice.
Forgot about
But
them
my
too.
goodness, they make you
Yeah.
work though. Um,
Yeah.
Speaker setup, just know your space, know where you want to set up and everything. I don't even have really three tips. I think those are just the two. Start with your receiver, know what your space is, what you're going for, and I think you really can't go wrong from there.
When it comes to my three, um, you gotta think. You gotta think about a couple things. And of course, your space, right? So not just audio. You gotta think about video too, because that's part of the experience as well. So when it comes to video, when you look at your room, can I go with look at your current setup and say what do I want to do different? So look at your spacing, your space. Excuse me. Um, what you want to get out of that room? Do you have the capability to add a little bit more channels if you don't have anything in there right now? Do you want to start off a receiver or a sound bar or vice versa? And then the last thing is how much you want to spend, because that's where things get crazy. But when it comes to the beginning, when it comes to the video portion, sit back, look at your setup and say, dang, I got a 55-inch TV in here. Do I want to go up to 65 this time? Now, maybe I want to skip it up now and go to 75. Oh, you know what? Nah, I already got that. I think I want to go ahead and do like the 85 or 86. You know what? Let's just do 90, 92, 98. But then you get the person that says, well, you know what? I got all that. I think I might want to do a projector now. So then you want to get an even larger screen. When it comes to projectors, the capability of those things now trying to outperform a TV. But that's a whole nother subject. So when it comes to your spacing, you got to think about that. How bigger do I want to go on my visual? Because that's going to change my experience too. And when it comes to your audio, you can do a lot with a small room. You can do end walls if needed. You can do smaller speakers, and the small speakers will still fill up the space. You got to think about where you want to put your components too. Because if you got a closet or if you got a nice TV stand or you want to put something in the corner, you got that's a space that takes up space too. And that goes back to spacing. So do I want to get a TV stand that's large or small, or or aesthetically is going to appeal to my family and stuff? Like, will they like the way this TV stand looks because I can put all of these components in there? Because you're putting in a lot of things in there other than just a receiver. You got some people have the Blu-ray players or gaming systems and all this stuff. So you got to think about your spacing and how you want to decorate all that. And then you got to think about, for beginners, some people at the beginning, the first time, they may even go out and make a whole dedicated room to home theater and get something built in their house or use a bedroom they're not using anymore. And they want to add stadium seating and couches and they want to change things up. And then when it comes to the audio portion, if they're doing research, they're going to see Atmos come across them a million times. They're going to read about it. That's all they're going to see. So then now they got to think about, well, dang, do I live in a 2-story or single or a ranch home? Do I have crawl space to in the attic to add the end ceilings? Because you can go up to 6 now or more in some cases. The norm is 2, but you can do 4 and still get that overhead sound. And when it comes to speakers, you can do end walls, and that takes up no space. And it's a nice aesthetic look, and it disappears into the room, and nobody knows where your sound's coming from because there's no giant speaker sitting out that's poking you in the head somewhere. And you're like, oh man, he's got I got end walls, so now nothing's seen or shown. If you got like a back wall, you can go with the end wall, and there's no more space taken, and you can actually still get the surround sound effect from there. I recommend for the first time users, if you want to go full-fledged, go with the surround sound setup with at the least 5 speakers. If you really want to go crazy, do 7. And if you're like, oh man, I just want to step it up, do 9 at the most. Just do 9. Yeah.
Yeah. Same for me. Like I said, I just ventured back into it. It's been a little over a year now, and it was a huge rabbit hole to go down. I was so confused on what I wanted to do. I seen, I'm on Reddit, I'm talking to you, and there was just so many options out there and people saying do this, do that. And I just had to figure out, what was best for me, set a budget. A lot of people said utilize the used market. That was a hard thing for me to do.
Nothing wrong with that.
And trust Facebook. So because I'm like, I was afraid like I'll come across that person that don't really want to. You don't have the opportunity to hear the speaker to make sure it works. Because these speakers can sit for a long time. So you gotta check and make sure the foam is still intact on it and all those things not busted.
Yeah.
So I just really didn't trust it. So my next thought was, okay, Amazon has like their Amazon Renewed. So that's where I started looking. That's where I actually ended up getting my speakers from. And they came in, they said renewed, but they were brand new. So I definitely tell anybody to check those options. It'll show up on Amazon once you put in that whatever you're looking for. It'll tell you underneath if they have the renewed option. So if you don't trust it, I'll tell you my experience. I gave it a shot because I was on YouTube and I was looking up, audio and stuff. And there was a guy that he had said the same thing. He was like, I got these from Amazon Renewed and they were brand new. So I was like, okay, well, let me see if I get the same thing. And the same thing that actually happened. So I looked up with that, and that was before the tariffs hit. So I really lucked up that way because, the price had shot up by I think it was like another $30 after that. So I got lucky with that. The next thing I would say, like you said, just know your budget and your space. And, if you're like me and you have a bigger room that can support the 7.1, I would say just go ahead and go that route instead of 5.1. Because to me, it's kind of like, what I used to be into. I really wanted a motorcycle. So I was always told, don't get a 500, don't get a 600. You're going to get bored with it real quick. And that's already how I kind of feel with the 5.1. I'm a little bored with it. I want to hear more. I want more out of it. So now I'm already thinking, I'm a year in and it's like, oh man, I'm about to have to, I already feel like buying another receiver, new speaker. So now that I could have put that money into it the first time around instead of waiting a year. So, just really have a plan in place, have a budget. It would be mine.
From experience and advice, I would always say 9 times out of 10, you're going to change the receiver before you change your speakers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You're going to keep those speakers for a while because regardless of the configuration, too, it could be 5 or 7 or 10, but you're going to change the receiver first before you change the speakers or add speakers, depending on. So, or in some cases, like you said, you may just want to keep what you have and just add on and then see what else you can pull out of that receiver and the experience, too. So, yeah, you're totally right. I would, I don't know. Receivers, there's so many different ones, and they all sound different. Denon to me is really, especially for the surrounds are very active on the Denon. Oh my God, you hear everything. The front's still a little low, so you have to kind of boost them up, especially if you add an external amplifier. Onkyo plays everything back correct. Not want to say correctly, but it plays it back how it should be played back. Yeah. There's not one higher than or louder than the other. It's just a neutral, warm, even sound. Sony, they can get a little crazy too. They the ES models, they've got some high-end stuff there, and their calibration setup is really intricate. There's also other things too when you're starting to buy, especially a receiver. Certain brands carry this new format called Dirac Live, and with that, I experimented with that on the receiver I have in my bedroom before when I had it in my movie room, and it's very, very. If you don't know what you're doing, it can get really, really tough because you gotta have it connected to the internet or Wi-Fi. You gotta be able to get into the settings off the receiver with your phone or tablet, and it's got to be ultra quiet in the house. You can't even have your air conditioner on. It'll hear it. And it'll knock that. It will not continue. If it hears, I remember the first time I did it, no lie. I did it in my movie room. I had the door open, and there was a little sound that came from downstairs. It was like I think someone was coughing. It knocked the whole thing out. It wouldn't even continue. It said,
Wow.
ambient sound heard, redo your test. I'm like, come on, give me a break. One little cough, and it just messed up. But when it did work and I tested it, oh man, it's night and day. It brought life to the speakers I didn't hear before. The only drawback was the bass. It dropped it down to -15, so I had to crank it up. And I guess they did that as a precaution so that you wouldn't blow your subs. But and most calibrations do that too. That's another thing we're going to talk about. Calibration. When it comes to calibration can save your system too. So even if you don't have a match set, or if you got something way over here, closer over there, or your distances are off, it's going to try to bring it back to where you can actually hear it. And then sometimes you have to go back into the settings and make the changes because you're not getting what you're hearing you want to hear. So you got to boost this channel up or turn this one down or even this out. And that right there can be intricate too, because a lot of folks, nothing's plug and play anymore. You got to set stuff in order for it to work right.
Yeah, one thing I noticed the other day, I had always seen it, but I didn't feel like I needed it.
Yeah.
So the other day I downloaded a SPL meter on my phone, one of the apps, and I started messing around with it, and I started messing with my speakers. So one thing I did was with my center channel, since it sits a little lower on my TV stand, I angled it, and I didn't know how much of a difference it was really gonna make. So I had never did it. So now that I did it, I was like, I can hear more now.
Yep. That's a good tip because a lot of folks say that online too. If you're not sitting directly in front of it and you're some distance away, like you said, it's down low, angle it up. And it'll bring a whole new life to your center channel. Yeah, placement is important too. Subwoofers can get tricky. Some people now receivers do up to 4, which is awesome. But if you got 2, they don't make down firing subs anymore. At least I don't think they do. Everything's direct firing now. I have 2 down firing speaker subs in downstairs in my living room. I have one in my bedroom. And I have a direct one here. That direct firing one pounds. And there's 2 kind of subs. There's the ported, and then there's the passive ones. And ported has a vent, like a hole in the back, and you need to kind of like push it away from the wall, let it breathe a little bit. And then the passive one, it's just a sealed box. It's a sealed box. There's no air pushing out of it, and those perform pretty well too. But don't let that determine, what kind of sub should I get ported. They're going to perform. Best part of replacement of those is a corner closer to the wall, because it gives you better frequency playback, and it could actually really rattle and shake your room. If it's a single sub or even a double sub, but if you got one that's direct fire, you can bring them in closer and have them in a space that's firing forward. So just placement is all about everything too when it comes to beginning.
When like I said, I was thinking about getting a second sub. What does it make a difference if your sub sizes are 2 different sizes?
That's tricky too. If you do a 10 or a 12, 12s play louder, 10s play tighter.
Right.
The bass to a 10 is quicker. A 12, it just wants you to turn up.
That's part of the reason why I never got another sub for the bedroom. Number one, it probably would have been overkill. 2 down firing clip subs, and that sub is like I think it's like an 8 or a 10. It gets the job done, but in the living room I have 2 direct firing Onkios, and to me it's perfect. Like, it sounded great with one, but that second one really helped augment the audio.
Is the room where your setup set is a carpet in there?
Yes.
What about you, there? Is a carpet on the ground?
Yep.
Okay, so with that, because carpet, believe it or not, plays a pivotal role in your sound because it reflects. So if you, like with him having a direct, down firing, it's hitting the carpet, so it absorbs that sound. if you had hardwood floors for downfiring, the best performance would be to put like a mat or a rug underneath it, and it'll really increase the sound for that. For you, you're good because you can do either one. But like I said, it's not you're not going to find downfiring anymore because they don't really make them. With you direct, I would go because here's another thing: placement. So you can put 2 in the front, you can put 1 in the front, 1 in the back. I've never experimented with a sub in the back. I've sat near a sub that was in the back, and it was kind of overwhelming because it was I'm sitting like right near a rattling sub, and it was pounding. But you can do 2 different ones. You just gotta even them out when it comes to the levels. And if you could, I would say stick to the same brand because sometimes that works out better too. Because if you get like a 10-inch, let's say a clip sub that performs up to like a 150 RMS, 200, 300 watts RMS, and then you go get another whole new brand that's like a 12-inch sub with like 500 watts RMS, total watts 1,000. Yeah, there's going to be an issue there because not because necessarily the size, it's also the wattage and playback. So then you got to find an even common ground with them to make them even. And sometimes the receiver, due to calibration, it can kind of balance that out too for you. When it comes to these receivers now, Onkyo and some other brands, they don't have independent sub playback. Denon and I think Marantz and a couple other companies, they have independent sub playback. So you can change. Oh no, the receiver will change the tonality of the bass, which I heard is really cool. So like the one I have downstairs, it does it plays my sub separate. So if a character is moving across the screen, like in real life, you know how sound gets louder when it gets closer to you,
right.
Quieter as it leaves. So when the T-Rex or the big monsters coming past, somehow the circuitry and the audio on there will trigger it to where it'll move with it, with whichever was on screen. So the stomp left and right moves from right to left, gets louder, quiet, louder. I would just get the same if you could, because it'll be even and the bass will play back properly, and one channel won't be louder than the other. It'll play back evenly.
Okay.
Yep.
So before we get out of here, is there anything else you guys wanted to, discuss with the chat real quick regarding audio or anything that we may have left out?
I think we pretty much covered it all.
Yeah, when it comes to formats, you got, Dolby Surround, DTS, Neural X. What I do like now is that with the newer receivers, when you just listen to like a stereo sound and nothing that's not recorded in 5.1, it's playing it back like it's simulating for it to give you better quality audio. I love the fact that years later that's developed and gotten better. I would always do your research. Hell, call these companies, ask them for advice. I was dead set on buying these one speakers at one time to the point where I actually called the company. I told them what I had, what I wanted to do, what they recommended. Because sometimes you'll get an expert on the phone that knows what they're talking about and not just trying to throw a sale at you. So one guy here just asked, do you agree if matching components are better than buying different brands?
I do agree with that, yes.
It works in your favor because depending on which one you purchase, it could have the same tweeter and same build, so that everything's even. But for those folks that cannot do it, or can't do it, always make sure your front speakers are matching.
At least the fronts.
That's the most important thing. Your fronts gotta match, because those speakers are going to get used 100% of the time. The surrounds, remember, ambience, surrounds, occasionals, nothing. Fronts, constantly.
That's the most important part, because even action movies, they're front heavy. Yeah. You want your sound stage to sound, even across.
Right.
Left and right.
Movies like Private Ryan and your military films and your high-end sci-fi films, they have constant sound moving around in the rears. And then occasional music playback, you'll hear it depending on how it's mixed. Your fronts have to be the same, because that's the most used channels for video playback and audio video playback. Your fronts have to be the same. It works out in your favor because it keeps everything even.
right. So there you have it, you guys. That is tonight's live stream, all about home theater. Before we get out of here, I think we got one thing we did want to announce to the chat that we were talking about doing. If you guys want to, well, Jason, it was your idea, so
yes,
go ahead and let them know.
All right, so okay, guys. So on our next venture, we're going to be coming out with a new channel, a name for the channel too. It's going to be called 3 Men in a Movie, and it's basically like what you see from us. No diss to Disney because I stole your title, but hey, it's ours. No one has it. I think we got it. So 3 Men in a Movie, just like 3 Men in a Baby. We're gonna because our baby is our movies, and we're all pretty much love our films. And the next time you see us, we're gonna have some cool stuff that we're gonna show off to you guys, and but we're gonna save that for the next time because we're working on something really cool. You guys are really gonna love it. It's gonna be nice, very different from what everybody else does. You're gonna like it.
Absolutely. So be on the lookout for that, man.
Very excited for it.
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
All right. So again, thank you guys for coming on up. Thank you for the chat for being here. There's plenty of other places tonight you could be on YouTube that are also live streaming. So go hang out at those channels now that this one is over. Once again, I thank you guys for being here. Thank you to the chat.
You're welcome.
It wouldn't be possible without you guys. To the next time.
To the next time.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.